I'll bet you're wondering what happens when you get Grammy-nominated jazz vocalist Carmen Lundy, real estate mogul, millionaire coach Christina Wise, catering empire builder, overall podcasting badass Mary Crafts, and the president of a powerful women's advocacy organization found in 28 states, 60 local chapters. What happens when you get those women on one stage and they are talking about mentoring, what that looks like, how they go about it? It's a power-packed time full of wisdom. Keep listening. Welcome to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. This podcast was created for the boomer woman leaving corporate, and now you're looking to reinvent yourself, become an author, an entrepreneur, a podcaster. Well, each episode will leave you with clarity. You will come away with the yes, I can and yes, I will reinvent myself mindset. So come on, let's do this. I'm your host, Margot Levette. Hello, everyone. Margot Levette back with another edition, Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. I want to tell you about a historic event that I was part of in March 2021. WomELLE decided that they were going to pay homage to 25 powerful women. These are women to follow for Women's History Month. I was given the honor and opportunity to first give a conversation with these women, and we sat down, and it was quite an eye-opening opportunity to get to know these ladies. They are mentors, they are entrepreneurs, they are trendsetters, they are influencers. So as if that was not the biggest thrill of my life, we turn around and come back, and WomELLE, which is a women's leadership magazine, especially for the small business owner, they segment these 25 ladies into 4 categories and develop panel discussions. And I was given the opportunity to moderate these panel discussions. The information that came out of these discussions was life-changing. Uncensored conversation from women who are known globally, women who are highly held in high esteem in their community. They have built empires, and here I am seated with them and creating an atmosphere where they poured into you, the listener. That's noteworthy. And I had to bring each one of these panels back to you so that you sit down, pay attention to what each and every woman had to say that day. I need to bring back these panel discussions because of the richness that is there. You know, being an entrepreneur, it is lonesome. Being a podcaster can be a very lonely journey. And you can't do any of this without a mentor. You can't do any of this without someone giving you instruction and guidance and even a rah. So before I guide you into panel discussion number 1 and let you know the women who were part of that awesome panel discussion, I want to share a couple of quotes with you. Some other famous people have said about mentoring. And first one comes from Denzel Washington. He said, "Show me a successful individual and I'll show you someone who had real positive influences in his or her life. I don't care what you do for a living. If you do it well, I'm sure there was someone cheering you on or showing you the way." A mentor. That came from Denzel Washington. Isn't that the truth? And then Ralph Waldo Emerson. I love his quote. He says, a chief want in life is someone who will make us do what we can. Gosh, I so can relate to that. And then I'll round this out with a quote from Bob Proctor, who says a mentor is someone who sees more talent and ability within you than you see in yourself and helps bring it out of you. These three quotes, they very well describe what the women who were a part of panel number 1. So without further ado, let me tell you who sat on that panel, that wonderful, awesome, unforgettable day. First person I want to bring to your mind is the president of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, the national president, Virginia W. Harris. Then we had Mary Crafts, award-winning entrepreneur, speaker, author, MC, mentor, sister, podcaster, Mary Crafts, who says, life does not determine your attitude. It is your attitude that determines your life. Then there was Christina Wise. We rounded out the conversation with Carmen Lundy. And this is what the New Yorker says about Carmen Lundy. She is a model of persistence. Lundy has soldiered on with even greater self-possession. Her recordings, including the most recent Modern Ancestors, resound with musical assurance. She composes much of her material and outspoken political fervor. I sat that day with some awesome influencers, thinkers. The National Coalition of 100 Black Women is a organization that is found from coast to coast here in the Americas. They concentrate and put their finger on what's going on in politics, in the community. For how can we all band together for the betterment of women, for our young girls, education, health, what's going on politically that can make life better for us as women. President Harris has been the spearheader. She has been the president for a number of years. She's leaving that post very soon. The fearless leader of that organization, outspoken, keeping her finger on the pulse of what's going on nationally for women, a firm representative of that organization. It's no wonder that WomELLE chose her to be one of the 25 powerful women to watch. As a matter of fact, President Harris is on the cover of the March magazine, a very distinguished, focused woman. And you understand that as she answers the question, and all of the women were posed with the question of mentoring. How do we mentor the women, the young women who are watching us, who are behind us, who are at the side of us? Mary Crafts, when I spoke with Mary Crafts initially, she was getting ready she had already built this empire, one of the largest catering companies in Utah. She's served several presidents. She built this from nothing, absolutely nothing. She's a savvy businesswoman, and she candidly revealed to me that she was, for so many years, a people pleaser, much to her detriment. But when I sat down with Mary Crafts initially, our first conversation, she let me know that she is now free, no longer that people pleaser. And I heard the vibrancy of her conversation, the liberty of her uncensored conversation. She calls herself a badass, and indeed she is. I felt the joy of this lady. So then when she was nominated to be one of the 25 powerful women to follow for Women's History Month, I asked her about the company, which she had passed on to her sons. The pandemic had struck. This woman had built this fabulous and very strong company. What was going on with it now? And she told me that she joined ranks. She linked her arms with her sons, and they pivoted, and they had to pivot quickly the way other companies had to. And they decided instead of catering, which was this is what they do, they pivoted and they did some other things, which kept them afloat, which kept them above the fold. And as we went into the panel discussion, she told me that they survived. They moved past the pandemic. And all I could think of, isn't that what a mentor does? Isn't that what an empire builder does? They build, they yet thrive and survive at the best of times and the worst of times. So Mary Crafts is a very dear lady also. Christina Wise. She was a guest on Mary Crafts' podcast. Mary Crafts, being the generous person that she is, she referred Christina Wise to my podcast as her business, her voice, her conversation. I immediately said yes as I reviewed Christina's bio, her body of work. This woman, quite ambitious. There's a quiet authority about her, very quiet in spirit. And I found her to be professional, driven, sure, but there was a quietness about her. And I watched her during our conversation. And this woman had made millions. I would call her a money magnet. Money was not a stranger to her. To generate money, to capture the sale, was not something that she was foreign to. A woman coming from very humble beginnings also. Very humble. And she was transparent about that. Transparent to a place where it pained me, and I was able to picture her surroundings as a young girl. But then I was able to also paint her surroundings as she educated herself and she moved up the ranks of arming herself to be a money magnet, to amass wealth beyond her wildest dreams, to be driven and dogmatic, to be the best, to make sure that she'd never return to her humble beginnings, driven to the point of becoming quite ill, right there on death's doorstep, that type of ill. She had driven her health into the ground. But at that point, she revealed to me, that's when she reinvented. I'd like to use the word reinvented. I'm sure there's another word for it. But she took stock of where she had been, where her health plummeted. And she made some changes because she had to. And now Christina Wise is the host of the Wealthy, WEALTHY, and WELITHY, concerning your health, your wealth podcast. She is an author and owner of Sovereignty Academy. She teaches women wealth management, how to handle your money, your relationship with your money, and maintain your health. Because how many times have we heard your health is your wealth? When I spoke with Christina, and she was on the panel also, she revealed how you have to maintain that balance. And once that balance is off, it tells you, and you pay a mighty dear price for everything being out of alignment and out of balance. Once again, Christina Wise and Mary Crafts, women who came up the rough side of the mountain, building their empires, but succeeding. And is life easy for them now? No, there's still challenges. There's always challenges. But these women, They gave excellent interviews, rich and fertile with conversation. So I want to make sure that you go back and listen to their one-on-ones with me, and then listen to their input as they came together on the panel discussion. Same thing for President Harris. President Harris came to the panel and our one-on-one as she represented the coalition of 100 Black women, but she also loosens up some and gives some insight into Pastor and now Senator Warnock. So you don't want to miss the one-on-one conversation that I had with the president of National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Virginia W. Harris. It's important that you listen to the one-on-one conversations and circle on back to the panel discussions, and all of the information becomes, oh, now I understand, and yeah, now I see and I understand that woman a little bit more. Now I understand why WomELLE nominated them and is paying homage to them as one of the 25 powerful women to follow. Our conversation on the panel was complete with Carmen Lundy. Carmen Lundy is a jazz singer. She's a media artist and a painter. She is a woman that is the world knows her. I had the pleasure to watch her perform here in Southern California many, many years ago on the advice of someone, and it was the best thing that I could have ever done to watch this woman unfold her jazz artistry, work her craft with poise and passion, professionalism. She has a way of drawing you into her work. I felt as though I was there on stage, and that night she was there with her brother, bassist, I think his name is, it eludes me right now, but this woman has Curtis, her brother Curtis. This woman has been on stage with, oh my goodness, all of the greats, and I won't begin to try to name them. She is a teacher. She is a mentor. And our one-on-one conversation she had to carry it, because this is a woman, it just took one time to watch her on stage, and I became a lifelong fan. This was years ago. So when I understood that I really was able to have this one-on-one conversation with the Carmen Lundy, and she called in, it actually was happening. Ladies and gentlemen, you will not believe how I was rendered to a fangirl. I couldn't get my notes together. I couldn't get my thoughts together. I was quite embarrassed. I was quite caught off guard. It was very unprofessional on my part, but to show you how professional she is, she carried the conversation. So for her to come back with us on the panel discussion and give us more insight into how she has taught and mentored students globally, how she started out and had to, as they say, grind and hustle there in New York, how she built her career, how she was unrelenting and embracing her gift, and how she polished it. She paid homage to all of everyone in any craft and field. You have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in what you're in hot pursuit after. The conversation was just remarkable. At the time that we had our one-on-one conversation, I'll never forget it. It was on November 24th. It was my birthday. It was the day that she found out that she was up for a Grammy nomination. And it was quite a thrilling day that upon that day, I would have that one-on-one conversation with the Carmen Lundy. And when you go to the panel discussion, which is, I'm bringing that to you by way of WomELLE. When you watch her during that discussion, she is gracious and she is immersed in the conversation. So when you listen to the one-on-ones and you bring it back to the panel discussion, you'll better understand why I had to break it down, introduce these ladies to you in my own way, and then take you over to introduce you to mentors, ladies who have made history and shall continue to make history. So I want to introduce to you Carmen Lundy, Christina Wise, Mary Crafts, Virginia W. Harris. These are women from panel discussion number 1. These are 25 powerful women to follow for Women's History Month 2021. And this is sponsored by WomELLE. It was one heck of a ride. The magazine itself sold out. You can't get your hands on not one copy. So you have to go to listen to the interviews. That's the best that I can do for you. That magazine sold out, and it's no wonder. So panel discussion number 1. I'm Margot Levette. I'll be back next week bringing you panel discussion number 2. I want to thank you for listening to Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Couple of things that I want you to do right now. Go to my website, pick up a copy of Her Business, Her Voice, Her Reinvention, how I went from game show hopping to international show host, author, and speaker in 1 year. Number 2, please freely listen to each and every episode. Share them out with your family, friends, the men in your lives. And then number 3, get in contact with me, one of the experts that have been on the show, because I want to make sure that you reinvent yourself. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode here on Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation.